It's September 1st, 2017. Round of applause, fellas. One time for it, two times for it, three times for it. It's what?
Showtime.
It's what?
Showtime.
It's what?
Showtime.
And we here with Jansen, cooler than the other side of the pillow, Harris, Goron, the great Sue Snod, and the one and only, often imitated, never duplicated, Tone Taylor. Happy Friday, fellas.
Happy Friday, guys.
Happy Friday.
Let's get to it. Jansen, what you have for us?
Let's get to it. Y'all seen the fight. Floyd Mayweather defeated Conor McGregor by technical knockout in the 10th round. Mayweather started off slow, but then turned the offensive pressure on in the mid to late rounds. Are you guys surprised with the results?
No, I'm not actually surprised. It's exactly what I thought would happen. I remember, Jansen, me and you had an exclusive interview. You asked me how long I thought the fight would last. I predicted 9 rounds, and it lasted in 10. So I was pretty close with my prediction. One thing I am surprised about is how well Conor performed as an amateur, fighting against one of the best to ever box. He did really good, landed a lot of punches, a lot more than some other people, but we'll get into that later, you know. And one thing I'm not impressed, though, or that surprised me, is Conor's conditioning. He got really tired and wobbly even in the 7th round, not even when Floyd was laying the big punches. He got really tired, which he said that he was prepared to fight 12 rounds, which obviously he wasn't. So, I mean, I think that's a big major transition from UFC to boxing, is like the conditioning is crazy. I mean, as you've seen, Floyd was composed and always never looked tired. Conor looked tired basically after the 6th round, and that's when I knew it was really over. So,
How do you feel about it, Tom?
Well, him saying that he's prepared for a 12-round fight, it's kind of tough when you've never been involved in a 12-round fight. And no, I was not surprised at all. It's simply put, the results were basically what I thought. The only thing that threw me off, that just caught me off guard, is the fact that Floyd came out as an aggressor. Even though he didn't throw that many punches in the first round, what he did through maybe 6.
Yeah, that's bad.
It was gradually, but he was coming out. He wasn't trying to counter punch. He was showing a different side of himself that we haven't seen before. But we knew, boxers and Mayweather fans knew that this wasn't a match at all. Basically. Not even a little bit. You know, he threw 6 punches the first round, 10 the second, 12 the third, and everybody he was getting beat up. He didn't throw anything.
Exactly.
He didn't throw anything. McGregor, from the beginning, 34 punches, 42 punches, 39 punches. Horrible. Come on, he only landed 26, 14, 23% of his punches. It was
I was surprised, though, man. I was surprised because I thought the fight would last less than 5 rounds. I thought Floyd wouldn't play around. I thought he would get right to it. But what I seen is he wasn't offensively active early. I just felt like he was nonchalant. I don't know if it was feeling out rounds, but I don't know. He wasn't motivated in the beginning, and he looked a bit old to me, at least offensively. But
2 years out, I can understand it. But, it was something that he wasn't used to doing. He said he owes it to his fans from the Pacquiao fight.
True.
You understand?
But let's get into the fact, on average, Mayweather's opponents only land around 18% of their punches. In Saturday night's defeat, Conor McGregor landed 26% of his punches.
yes.
How impressive was that, Jansen?
Actually, I'm not impressed at all. I'm not. Many people in the media are bringing up the fact, he landed a higher percent of his punches than Pacquiao, Cotto, Sugar Shane Mosley, which on paper, it looks good. But in reality, it means nothing. First of all, he lost, which that's all that matters. Next point is you have to consider the way Floyd started the fight. Floyd is thinking, okay, money-wise, I'm not ending this fight early, so he was just playing with it. Okay. And I'm not trying to discredit McGregor, but it's not that impressive. A lot of the times he was back on the ropes, just looks like he was just taking punches, and he knew McGregor had no power, and it showed. Yeah, he landed a good amount from what Floyd's accustomed to getting hit on, but it meant nothing. The power wasn't there. I'm not that impressed about it, to be honest with you.
I felt that, after analyzing everything after the fight, it was a strategy. Basically, the first few rounds, we wondering why he wasn't throwing as many punches, single digits in punches thrown in the first round. Basically, he was trying to feel Conor's power. Everybody talked about his knockout power and, the 8-ounce gloves is going to make a difference. He took that uppercut, and he kept on fighting.
Exactly.
He felt it. He knew. He knew from that punch, he can't knock me out. So from that point on, you've seen the more aggressive, like, okay, I can come full force. Because if he felt the power and he got stumbled back, you probably would have seen a different strategy come in.
That's a great point. I mean, regardless at the end of the day, but outside of the game plan and all that, I think it's impressive for a guy who's never fought ever. I mean, in a boxing ring, like
Started as a boxer.
yeah, but I mean, he's never professionally fought in a.
No.
So, but the point I want to make is this guy wasn't supposed to land 5% of punches. You know, he came in, Vegas predicted him to land 29.5 punches. He landed 111, which is a lot more than Manny Pacquiao. He landed more at a higher percentage of less rounds. Now, I know these might not be as powerful as he said they would be, but still he landed a lot. I'm pretty sure Floyd's game plan going in wasn't, hey, let him hit me as much as he can. You know,
But
what I mean?
if he fought the same fight that he fought against McGregor as he fought against Manny Pacquiao, then I think he would have lost the fight. So I'm not going to consider him doing a better job just because he landed a couple more punches. I mean, obviously his punches had no effect on Floyd Mayweather.
At all.
True.
I feel, the reason he landed so many punches, well, not even a lot, just more than regular Floyd would take, is because he was coming straight ahead. And I can hit anything that's coming straight for me. Understand what I'm saying? He wasn't his usual counter-puncher, defensive, strategic plan. That's not what he went by. Understand what I'm saying?
Makes sense.
Okay. Basically saying this. So Mayweather is expected to go back into retirement.
Yes.
He also told Stephen A. Smith that he promised his advisors this was his last fight. Will we ever see Mayweather in a boxing ring again?
I don't think so. I mean, depends on who he fights. If he fights another UFC fighter, maybe. But I mean, that's a long stretch. If he fights anybody who's decent at boxing right now, I'm pretty sure he would have lost. Like if he would have fought like some of the top ranked guys, Canelo, Triple G, which is gonna be a great fight, I'm pretty sure he would have lost that fight the way he was fighting. Now at the same time, he might have changed his style to fight against those guys, but I don't think he needs to fight anymore. He's set his legacy. He's 50-0, beat Rocky's record. I mean, I don't think there's that much more that he needs to do to prove himself as one of the best, or even as the best, which he would call himself.
I think Mayweather's done for good. He's done. Everybody close to him, all the sources, everybody who's in his circle is saying he's done. He's rusty. And as he told Stephen A., he wasn't interested in pursuing a fight with Triple G or Canelo afterwards. So, and that's the fight people would want to see him in. And honestly, Canelo would probably beat him. I'm not going to say knockout because that's really disrespectful to say that about a great like Floyd. Triple G would beat him too, plus the size advantage. And I don't know. I think a Terrence Crawford, who's at 140, we're probably going to move up to 147. I think he would knock out Floyd at this point. So I think that's the last time we've seen him in a boxing ring. But he marked it right. I don't want to see him go out like Shane Mosley or even Oscar De La Hoya, just losses and just fighting for the money. So Floyd did his thing. He was smart about how he calculated himself in the ring and obviously out the ring with his health.
No, plain no. I agree with both of you. He doesn't really have anything left to prove. It's the sport is now the younger fighters are coming into their own, into their prime. It's just time to sit aside and just watch your accomplishments grow and look at the business side. He has nothing left to prove at all. I don't think he should fight again.
Very true.
Yeah, it could be done for him. But next question, should Mayweather and McGregor fight again if this time in the UFC?
If they did?
If they were to fight,
if they were to fight again, should it be in the UFC?
Well, I mean, we already know what's going to happen in the UFC. Same thing with boxing. Conor would win. I don't think so.
I don't think so.
You don't think Conor McGregor would beat Floyd in the octagon?
No, and I'll tell you why I don't think so. I think if they fought in the octagon, and hold on, let me say my part before you go on your little rant. If they fight in the octagon, first of all, Conor McGregor is a puncher. He's not much of a ground fighter at all. All his losses have been he's been submitted out or somewhere in that nature. He's never really been knocked out how he was against Floyd. So they fight in the octagon. You get into Floyd's circle. Floyd's going to be on the attack. He's going to be hitting him with big punches like he did in the 9th and 10th round. So what I'm saying is McGregor's a puncher. Floyd's a puncher. He steps in that arena. He steps in his boxer circle, like they would say. He's getting knocked out again, and maybe even worse. Conor McGregor knows not to grapple. His grappling skills aren't that good. We seen that against Nate Diaz.
Okay. Now, you say his grappling skills aren't that good, but they're not good to a professional MMA fighter.
Exactly.
Now you're looking at Floyd, if he went over, he would not be a professional. This would be him stepping into an unknown territory, just like McGregor, and giving him 2 or 3 months to prepare. He can still use his grappling techniques against Floyd.
Now, I'm going to say this,
Here's
though.
the difference.
He gets into that circle. Floyd will not let him grab him. He's already going to get P.I.C.S with a left hand and a right hand and a left
Easier
hook.
said than done. He can take a couple of punches to grab him by his legs and pick him up.
But here's the main thing. If you look at the fight, the fight they just had, they would get into a lot of clinches to where, you know what the referee would do? He would come, he'd break it up. That doesn't happen in UFC. When you're in a clinch, you got to get out yourself.
Conor was the one clinching, though.
But, I mean, in the later rounds, correct. But in the early rounds, when Conor would come forward, would even sometimes turn around and lean forward. I mean, it's hard to hit someone. You're not supposed to hit him in the back of the head. That's hard to hit someone. In UFC, you can do whatever you want from that position. You can throw elbows,
holds
kicks,
barred.
anything. You know what I'm saying? And when they get on the ground, I'm pretty sure Conor has a better ground game than Floyd Mayweather.
Hell
He's
no,
done
you
it.
shouldn't fight him.
They're not going to
No.
get on the ground. That's how I feel about it.
I hear you.
Conor has been on the ground multiple times. That's not where he's good at,
But
but
he's better than-
he
he's
still
better
has
than
better
Floyd.
defense in that thing. Because the only time he's lost is on the ground, right? But if he
Yes.
takes Floyd to the ground, it's over.
He's not taking Floyd to the ground, is what I'm
He
saying.
doesn't have to though. He's going to throw elbows, kicks. I mean,
And they're not going to land, is what I'm saying. You're
Oh,
talking
you're
about one of the
crazy.
best defensive fighters of all time.
A
You're
boxer,
crazy.
defensive boxer.
UFC is
Not
a whole
no
different thing.
MMA fighter. Are you serious?
Yes, I'm serious. I'm
Very.
telling you, let it happen. Floyd Mayweather
No way.
Jr.,
No way.
the way his defense is set up is built in any type of arena. Floyd is not getting hit. He's not going to be able to grab Floyd and manhandle him and bring him to the ground. That's just not going to happen.
You can't.
Let's be
You're
honest.
crazy.
can't be serious.
Floyd
saying-
Mayweather Jr. second round knockout if he was in the UFC.
You're crazy.
But he's
It
not going to
wouldn't-
go to the UFC because they don't have money like that.
No, if Floyd goes there, there's going to be money, but
There'll definitely be money
that's
involved,
not
but
the
that's never
question.
gonna happen.
The question is, can Floyd last 30 seconds in that ring?
Definitely, easily,
Because
easily.
look at it this way: Conor McGregor has knocked out people who were undefeated for years and years and years.
But
in
they're not
13
on
seconds.
Floyd's level. They weren't on Floyd's
In
level. He was
boxing.
striking, though. He was striking.
Two different
Two different sports. That's
Two
why.
different
That's why
entities.
Conor never had a chance in the boxing ring. He never had a chance. It was just
true.
point blank and simple. But yeah. But I mean, let's go on. You know, so speaking of Floyd, he just broke Rocky's undefeated record of 49-0. I mean, with this win, does this making it 50-0? Does this make Floyd the best ever?
Absolutely. This makes Floyd. No, let me rephrase that. Does this make Floyd the best ever? He makes him the best in this generation. This makes him
Of all time.
I put
Best
him in the
of all
top three,
time.
but the best of all time, absolutely not. And I'm gonna say this, and maybe it's my bias for Floyd. I want to say he's the best, but we have to look at the Muhammad Ali's of the world. I have Ali at number one, and the reason I have Ali at number one is not just because of the social impact he brought to America and changing, and especially for the African Americans, but we have to look at it like this. He fought in the golden age of boxing. He fought against legendary fighters. He sat out 3 years, came back, was still in his prime. Now he has losses, which Floyd pointed out, which makes sense. But Muhammad Ali fought everybody.
But yeah, but they weren't legends in their time when they were fighting. You know,
True,
they became legends.
but
just like some.
But
might
the
become
heavyweight
legends
division
now.
was at the golden time. It's like the welterweight
heavyweight
division. It was like the welterweight division now,
Yes.
but on steroids.
definitely.
Everybody was good in the heavyweight division. And we had Ali. He sat out 3 years. He came back
During
and was
his
still
prime.
exactly during his prime. So 3 years we didn't even see Ali in his prime. Obviously he fought past his prime and lost
Definitely.
his last 2 fights. But you live and you learn. I think Floyd learned from that with the McGregor stuff. So if Floyd fought back in the day, he would probably have some losses. Because one, back in the day, you had more of top contenders fighting each other. Now you could avoid fights.
So if
you
you're
could
saying
release
that,
your belt.
so okay, so you're basically saying that he's not the greatest because if you feel like he would have fought back then, you would have had more.
Yes,
he
I
would have
feel
had
like
losses.
Floyd Mayweather Jr., he needs to explain himself of why he's fighting a Conor McGregor or Andre Berto his last couple fights. To me, yes, I'm going to discredit him for that because those guys never had a chance to win. We never sat here and thought, you know what, they have a puncher's chance. Nobody sat here and thought, okay, McGregor could win the fight or Andre Berto can win the fight. I give him credit for the Manny Pacquiao fight, even though he fought him late. He could have fought him early, which is discredit on both sides.
Yes,
But I have Floyd Mayweather Jr. I would put him at number 2 or number 3.
Who's ahead of him? at three?
Easily in my top 5. Easily in my top 5.
You have Muhammad and you have.
I have
Ali,
Muhammad
you have-
Ali. I have Sugar Ray Leonard, and then I have Floyd Mayweather Jr. That's my top 3 right there.
Okay. Should he be the best ever? He should. At 50-0, you should be the greatest ever. But he's not. It just, and I don't just say that because Ali fought the greatest. You know, the heavyweight, like you said, the heavyweight division was at its peak at that time. It just all depends on what you call the greatest. Is different entities. You know, you look out inside the ring, outside the ring, his social impact. You just have to implement Ali as the greatest ever, and then it all falls down into your likes and your values.
Exactly.
You
That
know,
social stuff is really helping him, though. That helped it.
It is.
Because we look at him as a martyr type of thing.
I think he's one of the greatest marketing geniuses in boxing history.
Best promoter ever.
You understand what I'm saying? When it comes to that, you boost him in different values. There's different values for different boxers. Was he a brawler? No, he wasn't a brawler at all. But he was the greatest. I feel the greatest defensive fighter of all time.
By far, definitely.
I wouldn't say by far.
I mean,
I wouldn't say by far because Ali was.
Well, Ali on the defensive end though, Ali took punishment, which wasn't cool at all. As
he
Floyd.
definitely
The only reason I say by far is because he's never lost.
No.
Now, I mean, maybe he ducked
His
Manny
status-
Pacquiao
his
and all
style.
this speculation, which is
Shoulder.
credible,
Yeah.
and all this ducking fights. That's great, but he still has 0 losses to me.
True.
And to be the best defensive, a great defensive fighter and be 0 losses, I have to put you at the top. I mean,
Most definitely, I agree with that.
Good evening. This is What's Right with White America with yours truly, Goran the Great, the only segment where we break down top white athletes for the week.
what's going on, guys? You know what time it is. This week, we're going to be talking about Conor McGregor, if we haven't already talked about this man this much. So after losing the super fight, Conor thought that the fight was called a little bit too early. Let's just take a look at what he said. So we have a little technical difficulties, but basically what he said was that the fight was called a little bit too early. And I personally don't agree. I agree with the referee's decision to cut the fight or end the fight when he did, because when you look at it, Conor was getting hit with lefts and rights, basically for a good stretch of 15 to 20 seconds all around the ring. Now, I understand people when they come from a UFC standpoint to where they should where he should have not ended the fight early, but we got the thing working, so go ahead and play the clip.
Oh yeah, we're back.
You're doing it to protect you, probably. You didn't want the protection?
I mean, I was just a little fatigued. He was a lot more composed under the shots. He was a lot more experienced, especially in the later part of it. But early on, I felt like it was handy enough, to be honest. But he's composed in there. You've got to give it to him. That's what 50 pro fights will give you. So fair play to him.
Conor, I may be wrong in this assessment, and tell me, but you seem happy. I know you're not happy to lose, but are you pleased with how you performed?
I don't know. I've been here before.
Yeah, so basically he was unhappy with the fight, but unhappy that it was called a little bit too early. I personally think that it was called at a good time, because a few more punches, it could have been night for him. He could have been on the ground, which is not good to see. So
I totally agree with you. Of course, Conor, it was the pride that was speaking for him. But if you look at it, he threw all these punches in the first few rounds, from 34 to 42, all the way up to 65 punches thrown in round 4. In round 10, he threw 2 punches. He only threw 2 punches. He went a minute without throwing a punch. Of course, call it. You're not defending yourself. In boxing, that means you quit. Call it.
Definitely.
I
But
personally, I would have loved to see it go on more, because I just wanted to see him get beat up some more. I thought it was funny. I was watching I was sleeping through half the fight, I'm not even going to lie. But when I seen Conor just taking all those punches, I was like, ref, stay out the way. I want to see him drop, bang. But it didn't happen. But the ref did his job. All jokes aside, the ref did his job, and he deserves his paycheck.
Definitely. But speaking of paychecks, we'll be right back with Jansen's give that man a raise and return your paycheck, and we'll get into the Kyrie Irving and Isaiah Thomas situation.
I hate when guys act like they know everything about sports.
Is it hate or is it grace?
Like these guys on all these talk shows, like, well, that guy's not a good baseball player. That guy's not a good football player. That guy's not a good basketball player. I'm like, dude, in your opinion.
It's time we separate the hate from the great. Cut the grass and let the snake.
Welcome. You are not tuned in. You are not tuned in. Yeah. Tip it. Love. Dusty always told me to keep a small circle. Love that hater, even though they'll hurt you. Positive vibes, natural highs. So I'm tuned in to live life in the purple. Shout out to M Love, this is real love. How I know? Cause she always show him love. It's all love, art and poetry. Tune in, you about to witness history.
Okay. After being traded to the Cavs and undergoing a physical test, Isaiah Thomas' injured hip has brought up questions on if he can be an impact next season. Should Cavs fans be worried for next season? What do you think?
Well, I don't think they should be that worried because I personally think it's a big injury. I don't think Isaiah Thomas will miss that many games, if any. Now, it's questionable. The medical team for the Cavs has no time over return for him, so that could be key. But what I think is really what they need to do is get him in for enough games for them to build chemistry, because it doesn't really matter. We all know this, what seed LeBron's in. You know he's going to go to the finals, whether it be first seed or A seed. He's going to go to the finals, you know what I'm saying? But like I said, I wouldn't want him to miss too many games because of the chemistry, because if they don't play together and they don't build that chemistry, they might not make it out the East. Now, all that being said, I still don't think it's enough, even with Isaiah Thomas fully healthy, for them to beat the Warriors. I mean, I don't know if you guys would agree, but they just don't have enough.
But wait, we're talking about the impact next season. It's absolutely going to have an impact. Even though they did receive a second-round draft pick from Boston threw them that. I think that Boston wins when it comes to that. But we're talking about the impact. Cleveland's medical staff doesn't know how long he's going to be out. That's a concern. We don't know the timetable on this injury.
Yep.
Will he be the same player? He re-injured this injury last year, so it never fully healed up, according to him. He has to come out and say, oh, I'm going to be the same player. To me, when somebody comes out and says they're going to be the same player, they're not going to be the same player. I'm concerned. I don't know if Isaiah Thomas can still be an all-star. This is definitely going to have an impact on them. And like you were saying, this is going to mess up the chemistry. If he's out for a while, is Derrick Rose the guy? Is Derrick Rose the starting point guard? What if Derrick Rose comes out and he plays well? So this is going to mess up everything when it comes to Cleveland's success. They might not win. They might not go to the championship.
When I look at the impact, I look at is what is he going to do to help them win the finals? Now, if he's not there, there's no chance whatsoever. With him there, there's a chance, but I don't think that there's a good enough chance for them to even win maybe 2 games against them. Because let's be honest, Kyrie Irving is the better player in this trade.
But he's going to be there. I would hope so. He would be there for the finals. I'm talking about through the regular season.
Let me interject with this. Should the fans be worried? Absolutely. Understanding this is a reoccurring injury. So this is up for concern. And the hip is not something to play with. You understand what I'm saying? This can end careers. So should the Cavs fans be worried? Yes, if this is a reoccurring injury and they don't know the timetable. Now, can he come back from it? Absolutely. But the only concern that there is that the Cavs front office they can't determine when he'll be back. They don't know when his timetable to be back or when he's going to play. So yes, it is up for concern.
Yeah. Speaking of the Cleveland Cavaliers, last Thursday I had a sit-down conversation with former NBA player and Cleveland Cavalier Jamario Moon.
Both teams got better. I really do. I think Cleveland got a lot better because they added Jay Crowder, which is another tough wing defender. And anytime Kyrie go to play with another superstar like Hayward, I mean it's only gonna be good. You know what I'm saying? So I think both of the teams got better, man.
Can they beat the Warriors with this trade, bringing in Isaiah Thomas, Crowder? I know the first round pick from the Nets, that's significant, but that's for next year.
Man, listen what I'm gonna say. Anytime you got LeBron James on your team, you got a good chance to win. You know what I'm saying? And of course, like I said, having Jay Crowder, out there to help with defense on the wing, then that's a plus. But anytime you got LeBron on the team, man, you got the chance to win.
So what was it like playing with LeBron? What was the experience like?
Man, it was easy. It was easy and it was fun. I had some. I really enjoyed it. You know what I'm saying? He made the game fun for everybody. I mean, from the first person on the bench to the last person on the bench. I never heard anybody say a bad thing about playing with LeBron or just being around LeBron. He gonna make you feel welcome.
And That was a clip from the interview last week. Speaking on the Cleveland Cavaliers' recent situation.
Very interesting.
Yeah, very interesting.
I like how
he
he's
last appeared on an NBA roster in 2012, and in 2008 he was second team All NBA for rookies.
Mr. Moon. I like that he said that nobody ever said anything bad about LeBron, but somehow Kyrie Irving has the nerve to say, I don't want to play with him. So I mean, that's just my personal
Technically,
opinion.
A lot of things, like I said, media, which we are, but I call a spade. Media plays a lot into feuds when it comes to sports.
Absolutely.
You understand what I'm saying? It plays a lot. Even though he can say, as a teammate, he's never heard anybody say anything bad about him. You might go to another teammate from a different locker room that's moved away from him and may have a different aspect or a different outlook on LeBron James. Understand what I'm saying? Kyrie he said it in his interview on being introduced for the Celtics, him and Hayward. It was an amazing 3 years. He learned so much from him. He would be a fool to say anything wrong towards those 3 years. Those were a great 3 years. They went to 3 straight NBA finals, and they won one. Now,
very good.
Was there differences? Probably. But in families, brothers fight. It happens.
Yeah.
Understand what I'm saying?
True. Speaking of the Kyrie Irving situation, Kevin Durant had a lot to say about that situation and basically how he agrees and respects Kyrie Irving's situation to leave. One thing that he said that really stood out, though, he said, quote, I just think Kyrie just wanted a place where he can focus on just playing basketball and not worry about the other drama that comes with, end quote. Now, was Kevin Durant taking shots at LeBron with this statement?
Absolutely. Kevin Durant is taking shots at LeBron James. I think Kevin Durant, I want to say this because it was interesting when I first read the story. He got a lot of confidence now. I think he's on cloud 9 after having so much success in his first year with the Warriors, right? He went in there first year, won a championship, Finals MVP, made the big three in LeBron's face in Game 3 to bring the series to 3-0, etc. But yes, he's taking a shot at LeBron James. He's basically speaking on every little situation, and he's throwing his 2 cents in. He's like, look, Kyrie, you could be the man. Obviously, LeBron doesn't have it anymore. That's what he really wants to say. But Kevin Durant's going to be slick with it. But, of course, Kevin Durant has a lack of respect for LeBron James. Him and Steph Curry, as you see with their little antics, what they're saying in the media, they don't have much respect for the king, which is interesting to me.
I feel you're playing into that media hype, but that's your opinion. No, I don't think he's taking a shot at LeBron, but I think he's telling the truth.
Why are you speaking on it, though?
Because he's telling the truth. With LeBron comes all the hoopla. The greatest, is he the greatest ever, the greatest all around, where does he rank, And the main point when it comes to LeBron, he does this every year, well, when he moves. And he's entitled to do that because he is LeBron James, but is LeBron James going to sign next season? Now, he has the Cavs by the throat. Let's be honest. LeBron has the Cavs by the throat. The front office, they won't make a move unless LeBron James said so. Let's be honest.
That's how it should be.
I don't want to. Okay, you're entitled to that opinion. I totally understand it. But if I'm another player on the Cavs and I feel like I'm great as well, I don't want to sit here and wonder when the Cavs are going to make a move because we don't know when LeBron is going to make a move. Just me as a player, I wouldn't like it, and that's why he wanted out. It's too much politics when it comes to LeBron, and he's entitled to it because he's one of the greatest. But me as a player, if I'm Kyrie, I understand it. He wants out. We don't know what LeBron is going to do, so let's not make a move. Come on, let's stop. Let's be serious.
Before we get to the next time, I just want to make one statement. I'd rather deal with the politics that comes with LeBron than deal with defending LeBron on another team. So
there you go. Well said.
That's spoken as an analyst, not a player. Let's be serious.
Okay, true, but we're going to go ahead and get into the next segment. The New England Patriots speculate Julian Edelman tore his ACL. If this season-ending injury is confirmed, what kind of impact will it have on the Patriots reaching the Super Bowl?
Honestly, just from the way I look at it, since Tom Brady's been on the team, it's not really going to affect him as much because you got to understand, first of all, Tom Brady makes any receiver look good. He's the LeBron James of the NFL.
Oh,
there you go, cringing, but that's the truth. He makes anybody look good. And for this situation, Brandon Cooks, who they acquired from the Saints, he put up pretty good numbers. What is he, 23 years old? He's going to be a speedy receiver.
Great acquisition.
He's going to be great for them. More opportunities going to open up. They're going to implement him a lot. He has a lot to learn, but It's going to be easier with Tom Brady. And then you got Rob Gronkowski, who is a matchup nightmare. So if he could stay healthy, New England won't be missing out as much. Remember, Cook had nearly 1,200 yards, 8 touchdowns last year. And Gronkowski, when he's healthy, who could guard him? A safety can't guard him. A linebacker can't guard him. You're going to have to roll the coverage towards him. So, in a way, this kind of helps the Patriots. It's going to open up the offense for others around.
I agree with you. I just don't like all your points. I don't know if it's better by losing Edelman. I don't think that's going to...
Maybe I discredit him a little bit, but...
Yeah, way too much. Understand, but I totally agree that it's not going to be not as a big of impact losing him as we think. Why? Because they lost Gronk, arguably the best tight end in the league. I don't know who's arguing it, but the best tight end in the league, and they adjusted. Belichick and Brady are one of the best combined player coach minds in NFL history. They will adjust. They may go back. They got that young tight end. They might go back to the 2 tight ends set. They won't miss a beat. It will hurt them losing him, but I feel and I know that Belichick and Tom Brady, and it hurts me to say this because you know how I feel about the Patriots, but they'll get it done. That's not going to impact them not making,
especially in that division. Especially in that division.
In the worst division ever.
Just bad. But number 1, Alabama. This is a big primetime game. We'll play Florida State in an early top 3 showdown that will have heavy playoff implications on the college football playoff. Who wins this game and why? Tone.
Ooh. Roll Tide. That's
God.
Right. Hey.
Oh, my God.
What's wrong? What's going on?
Nah, man.
Is there a problem?
I want to see the underdogs win, man.
It's not about what you want to win. We got to understand.
But why do you feel that way? Come on, break it down. Why do you feel that way? Why is Alabama going to win?
Listen. I understand that Florida State, young, and they have their O-line. I mean, their front line is returning. But that Alabama defense, stout, strong,
stingy
front line. Let's not forget that O-line, stout, strong, and that running game is impeccable. Now, Florida State has a good front line, but we pound the ball. How can they take this for 4 quarters is the question. I don't think Florida State can take that ground and pound for four quarters. I don't see it. I don't see it. With Jalen, and it's not just the running backs pounding you. You have a mobile quarterback that they said, quote unquote, that he's gotten better. And, playing and practicing against that secondary, your Alabama secondary is only going to make you a better passer. He's young. He's only a sophomore. But he can run the ball as well, too. Behind that O-line, they're going to ground and pound them. It's going to hurt them. They won't last for 4 quarters at all.
Even though Alabama has an outstanding defense, I think Murray's going to have a big game against them. And for them to win, he's going to have to. He has to have a big game, maybe over 100 yards. It's going to be hard to say against their defense, but why not? He did something not like that, but last year he was decent. He was pretty good. But I think he'll step up this game. And also their cornerback, Derwin Jamin, safety. I'm sorry. He's
all pro.
All pro. I mean, he might be the best player in the league right now, if not one of the best. And I expect him to put some work on the Alabama offense and get an interception, if not 2. So that's me. I think the game will go for Florida State 2017. I know it's a stretch, but I like to see the underdogs sometimes win. And now, Alabama, they're always going to win something this year, next year. And I feel like their loss last year in the championship game, I think that'll carry on over into this game. It shouldn't, but I feel like it will.
Hey, I'm picking Florida State as well. Let me mention a name. Sophomore Kevin Gavin. Big receiver, speedy guy. I think he's going to have a big impact. Matthew Thomas, he's going to dominate on defense. Last year, 77 tackles. His senior year, I think he's going to step up. I think Florida State has something to prove. Stereotypically, yes, Alabama usually comes to the games like this, knocks off the ACC team or Big Ten team.
What do they do in the first games of the season?
Florida State, I'm going to tell you what they're going to do. Florida State's going to run the football. They're going to play ball control. And I love this kid, like you just mentioned, Derwin James. Safety, he's the best player in college football. I know all the hype is going to come up. He's going to come up there. He's going to hit Jalen Hurts. He's going to hit him. He's going to rush the quarterback. He's going to be in coverage. He's going to make that Florida State defense elite. I think Florida State sends a message. I'm picking Florida State 34-13. 34-13.
No way.
Jalen Hurts is going to struggle.
34-4. That's kind of
34-13.
No way.
Tone, what do you think?
not.
What do you think?
Listen, Lou, you already know I'm going to roll tide.
What's the score?
I don't care about the score. The score doesn't matter because I don't know how you feel that they're going to control the clock against that stout Alabama defense. You're not going to be able to run, and they don't have a mobile quarterback. Mobile quarterbacks give Alabama problems, right?
True.
Yes.
Florida State does not have that at all. I'm sorry, it's not going to happen. What you said the score was going to be?
34-13 Florida State.
34-13.
I'm sticking behind. I'm confident.
I'm going to go 35-14.
27-17 for Florida State. So we'll see, man. It's going to be an interesting game.
Now, quick question. Will the loser be eliminated from the college football playoff?
I don't think so. I don't think it's that big. I mean, it's a big game.
It's a top 3 game right here. The loser probably won't lose again.
They won't lose again. If Florida State loses, I think they have a chance to get back in.
Okay.
Show me the money. Show me the money. You throw 5 touchdown passes, score 30 points, throw a no-hitter or hit a couple home runs, give that man a raise. Return your paycheck. If these athletes play like garbage, underperform, and don't live up to the hype, Jansen puts them in check with return your paycheck.
I remember last week I said Matthew Stafford would be a top 3 quarterback in the NFL next year. And basically my co-host just laughed at me. They laughed at me. But guess what? He's getting paid like the top quarterback. My man, Matthew Stafford, agreed to a 5-year deal worth $135 million. Goron, Tone, listen real quick. $92 million guaranteed. So if he says,
insane.
you know what? I have an ankle injury. I have a knee injury. 92 guaranteed. Now, some people don't think he deserves it because he's 0-3 in the playoffs, which is, I can't really defend him on that. But we're still going to give that man a raise. I have 27 million reasons to give him a raise because that's how much he's getting paid every year. $27 million. Is he the best quarterback in the league? No, but I'm telling you, top 3 season next year, so give Matthew Stafford a raise. I'm not done. We're also going to give the Pittsburgh Steelers a raise. Why? Because they signed Joe Hayden. This is big to me. Joe Hayden, his rookie season, went to the Pro Bowl. 2014, he was an All-Pro. Had a couple concussion issues, like half the NFL. But think about it like this. He's not on Cleveland anymore. Cleveland cut him for some odd reason. They didn't want to pay him the $11 million. And the Steelers picked him up. That's from basically the bottom to the top of the division. And now this is going to give the Steelers a respectable defense, especially the secondary where they desperately needed help. So I'm going to give the Steelers a raise and Joe Hayden. Point blank period.
Falcons should have done that.
Now, for return your paycheck, Fox Sports analyst Skip Bayless, just like every week we got somebody on Fox Sports, he needs to return his paycheck for saying the Warriors shouldn't be the overwhelming favorites. Here's a clip of what he said on his show Undisputed last week.
Skip, should the Warriors be this big of a favorite?
No, they should not be. This is actually laughable to me because the Golden State Warriors did not earn this invincible status in last year's playoffs. If you look hard at what happened last year, people are actually overreacting to and overrating what they pulled off in the playoffs because it wasn't that impressive.
Okay, Skip Bayless, well, you said it was laughable. Well, it's laughable to me, honestly. Okay, you need to return your paycheck. 67 wins, to me, is manageable for the Warriors. You have Kevin Durant, his second year in the system, and you saw what he did the first year under Steve Kerr. Steve Kerr's going to be healthy. Ultimately, the Warriors are most likely going to win the title again. Now, he wants to bring up the point, which he said in his testimony, Kawhi Leonard was hurt, the East was the least. All that is excuses to me. You have Draymond Green, Klay Thompson, you added in Nick Young, Curry. They are great right now. They're scary good.
I agree.
They're the Bulls. So I feel right now, Skip Bayless, return your paycheck. Now, Gordon, you have something to say about it? Chime in.
Definitely. I mean, just to agree with and add on to your point, the Warriors basically blew everybody out in the playoffs every single game outside of that miracle game that the Cavs had where they scored 49 in the first quarter. Outside of that, they blew everybody out. It wasn't even close. So
exactly. We need you to say it too. Tell Skip Bayless to return his paycheck.
He needs to return his
paycheck. We're done with him. So please, come on now, Skip. Skip, pull a Shannon or something. Skip, return your paycheck. Yours truly.
He must return that paycheck. I agree.
Definitely.
He needs to return his paycheck. But next up, we have our guest, MMA fighter. This guy is awesome. Jared Gooden. He's in the studio, IBNX Radio. He's with Topics. You're going to hear him next up. Keep listening. Topics ATL. And we have Tone's message. You never want to miss out on that. He has something important to tell y'all. And is it hate or is it great coming up next?
All right, go get him.
There's only one tippet, by the way. Word of mine, I'm still with you. Trey Grizzly be your real nigga with 9 Ether coming out your speakers. Goddamn, feel like still hit you. When they speak, you gotta listen. It costs nothing to pay attention. Got the upside, the inside. King Blacksmith with the outside. Got the city locked. 7 to 9 every Tuesday from 7 to 9. That's word of mine. Word to the wise. Words on the rise. That's word from the God. We work hard, but play harder. Get throwed after every show. Till the next time, let the best shine. I be a next. We out the door. Yeah.
Listening to Topics, the best sports show in the world. Guess who we got in studio now? MMA fighter. This guy's amazing. He's won titles. He's great. I was watching some of his fights.
Very impressive.
Yes, very impressive. Jared Gooden's in the building. What's up, man?
Thanks so much.
And we're happy for you. We're happy that you're here, man. We're glad you came.
Go ahead
in.
and introduce yourself a little bit. Where you're from, background, what got you in MMA, and all that. So.
Background: born in Birmingham, Alabama. Moved to Florida. Came up here to Georgia. I grew up with my mom. My dad was around, but he was never really there. So I grew up with a single mom. Grew up with my sister. I grew up in a house of women, and it's funny how I found fighting. My mom was always scared for me. You know, she was always sad. She never knew how to make me like a man. I just always figured out for myself. But I found MMA one day because I was visiting my dad in Florida, and just going through the channels when he wasn't there, and I stumbled on a fight with BJ Penn and Matt Hughes.
Okay.
God, that just changed my life. Like, flipped through channels and I just saw a punch. I was like, stop the world. You know what I mean? This is. I'd have to see this, and I saw the fight. It was just. Right then, like it hit me in my heart and my soul. I was like, this is what I have to do. This is my life. I don't know anything else. I saw that at 15 years old. Linked up with my head coach, Philippe Gentry, at 17, and I've been with him ever since. I'm 23 right now. Went 6-1 as an amateur MMA. Won 2 titles. Right now I'm professional. Getting ready for my championship fight September 22nd and September 22nd at Center Stage in Midtown Atlanta. Man, there's nothing else. God put me on this earth to fight, and I'm just so happy.
It was your calling.
Yes, sir.
There it goes. I love that. I love to hear that.
So was MMA always your dream, or from that fight, did you ever think about boxing maybe or anything of that sort? Or?
Actually, I've worked with Paul Murphy's boxing gym in Atlanta, and they've actually asked me to dedicate more time to them and think about a boxing career. And like I've thought about it, and I actually would do it, but nobody's done it better than Conor McGregor. Like I'm gonna pursue MMA. Do everything I need to do there, and then I'll try boxing. You know what I mean? I think Conor did it smart.
Conquer one thing at a time.
Exactly. You know, and you have to give it to the man. He's unbelievable in MMA. His first boxing match is against the best of all time, Floyd Mayweather. Mm-hmm. He lasts 10 rounds. That's amazing. You know what I mean? If they fight again in boxing, I'd say Conor could take it. You know what I mean? Like, say if he spends more time for sure.
God.
That's breaking news right here.
This is where I have to stop you. He will take him next time?
For real. Look. Conor McGregor.
Please break this down to me.
I will. Like I said, as a fighter.
So look,
Conor McGregor is used to MMA, mixed martial arts. That's like punches, elbows, kicks, everything, right? Mm-hmm. In boxing, you have 2 hands. Don't get me wrong. It's still a phenomenal sport, but MMA is harder. You know what I mean? You have to worry about other things. You have to worry about striking, takedowns, the clinch. In boxing, you have to worry about clinch and strikes. Man, if Conor, like I said, Conor McGregor took that fight and never really boxed before. You know what I mean? He's mainly MMA, and he came and took the best guy on ever in boxing. Yeah, they fight again. He lasts 10 rounds. You know what I mean? Like, he had the first 4 or 5 rounds. You know what I mean?
Did you watch the fight?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so let me break this down to you, MMA.
Please.
I gotta call him MMA because
Please,
you know
please.
he's going for the Conor side.
Yeah,
I'm
please go
SPG,
ahead.
baby.
Please go ahead.
SPG got SPG, baby.
Let me explain this to you. You said he won the first 4 rounds.
Yes.
Okay, let's give it to him. But why did he win the first 4 rounds?
Because Floyd gave it to him. He was studying him.
Okay,
100%.
okay. So if you agree that he was baiting him and giving him to feel his power and realize that he didn't have any power at all, that he can take each punch. He could take each punch. If he would have got hurt by that uppercut that he got, I think it was the second round, and you would have seen him stumble back, his whole game plan would have changed. But he felt that power and realized, I can take these punches. These 8-ounce gloves is not making you a better target or a better individual in this ring. So if I gave you the first 4 rounds, right?
Yeah.
If you had a year to practice, I understand? That means I have a year to practice as well.
Exactly.
Understand? And his game plan was to give the people a better fight because he said he owes it to them because he didn't give it to them in the Pacquiao fight. You know, because Floyd is what? Floyd is not a knockout puncher anymore. He hasn't been that since the first 15 years of his career. He's a defensive fighter.
Yes,
He's a counterpuncher, just like McGregor. McGregor's a counterpuncher.
McGregor is a counterpuncher, but we all knew his only chances to beat Floyd was to knock him out in the first rounds. I believe if Conor had better cardio, his cardio was his downfall. It was terrible. And like even in the MMA fights when he fought Diaz the second time, it lasted all 5 rounds. The 4th and 5th round, he was gasping for air.
But who knew that? Who knew that?
Oh, MMA guys knew.
Mayweather knew. He knew that, and that's why he was like, okay, this is my strategy. I'm gonna come out aggressive. I'm gonna have you throw everything you have. And yes, I'm gonna get hit. I'm getting hit more, but it's not affecting me. If it was affecting him, I think he would have went back to his stance, his regular defensive prowess. But he didn't have to because he wasn't getting hurt by these punches.
He wasn't getting hurt, but he knew they were there. You know what I mean? Like if Conor had better cardio, he would have took that fight. That's all that held Conor back. So he was tagging. He was more active. Like I said, Floyd was allowing it.
He was allowing
Floyd,
it.
But Conor was just attacking. He was off the rip. He was hitting beautiful angles. Like again, from a guy this for his first boxing professional fight takes on Floyd Mayweather and puts on that great of a show. Fight again.
That's
Conor
very impressive. Earlier we were talking about. Well, that's debatable. But earlier we were talking and we asked what would happen if they went into the UFC ring. Now, one of our hosts, Jansen, said that Floyd Mayweather would beat Conor McGregor in the octagon in under 2 rounds.
That wasn't me. That was
I said that. Let me defend myself. Since you want to put me on the spot,
please.
No, I just want you to say from an MMA perspective.
You want to put me on the spot, but let me school you real quick. My take on this, I'm saying this, that Conor McGregor won't get close enough to Floyd Mayweather where he'll be able to take him down. Hit him with the elbows, mash him up. I think Floyd Mayweather will consistently land that left hook and the left hand jab, and I think it'll be all she wrote. Once Floyd Mayweather hits him with that right hand, it's night time. And I think it'll be over right there.
I'm gonna tell you why that's that. I'm gonna tell you why
it's not an argument.
It wouldn't go down. Yeah, it wouldn't go down that way. It's because again in MMA you have kicks, knees, and elbows. The way a boxer stands and the way an MMA fighter stands, 2 different stances. The way that Floyd stands with his lead leg turned, exposing his hamstrings, Conor with one good leg kick will destroy his hamstrings. It would be hard for him to stand. Now, few people know this, but Conor McGregor's a brown belt on the ground. You know what I mean? He's a very high level ground fighter.
I did not know that.
He lost to Nate Diaz, got choked out. Yes, he did, but he was a high level. He's a high level brown belt, and Nate is a more high level black belt. But Conor still swept him as a brown belt. Conor got knocked down, swept him, came on top at the end of the first round when they first fought. Conor, like I said, he's legit on the ground. He would take Floyd down. He would drag him to deep waters on the ground.
I said wouldn't last 30 seconds.
No.
That would be nice.
I'd give Floyd
at least 2 rounds. Come on now.
No,
Give
Floyd
Floyd
not
a
even
round.
close.
He'd be lucky. Floyd would be lucky to make it out the first round. A 5-minute round?
You are crazy.
Floyd would. Conor would take him down and beat the shit out of Floyd. Man, there's no question. He can even stand with him. The kicks change everything. You see, Conor loves spinning back kicks. Just one of those would destroy Floyd. Conor could fake a jab and go with a spinning heel kick to the face. Floyd would wake up not knowing where he was. I swear.
I totally agree.
So, what is your reaction, John Jones? He failed his second drug test in 13 months. What was your reaction when you heard about that?
A waste of talent. The dude has all the talent in the world, just makes stupid decisions. People call him the greatest of all time. I don't think he is the greatest of all time because he holds himself back. He could be if he actually dedicated himself and didn't try to cheat. You know what I mean? Like I said, my thoughts on it, he's just a waste of talent. How old is he? In his 30s, and just hasn't grown up yet. He's still a child.
Do you think this is the last time we'll ever see him fight in the UFC? Do you think his career's over?
In the UFC, he probably fight somewhere else. He's made a lot of money. He could retire if he wanted to, but
he needs to retire.
He needs to retire. Like, so he's just not. He's not smart anymore when it comes to his fighting career or anything like that. So he could fight again. Do I want him to? No. He should stay out.
If you could give him some advice, what would you say to him? Like some
smack him
friend
in the back
advice.
of the head and like, stop fucking up. I don't mean to curse, but it's just like, man, you're hurting yourself. He's his worst enemy. He's his only obstacle. So that's what I tell him. Hit him back the head, like, dude, stop messing up. Get serious. Train hard. Stop cheating or stop trying to cheat, man, and just be the best you can be. Be the greatest of all time. Be what everybody wants you to be. Be John Jones.
Definitely. Well, unfortunately, we're out of time here. We have to get into a Tone's segment. We want to thank Jared Gooden for coming out
Appreciate
and
it, man.
interviewing. Go ahead and remind him when your fight is again.
September 22nd, Center Stage, Midtown Atlanta. I'm the main event fighting for the Georgia 170 championship. Please come.
Always the main event. Always the main event.
I'll make sure to check him out.
Selling out the place
I'll
every
make sure to
time,
check
baby.
him out, man.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, it's time to get into my segment. And basically, I have this hate a great moment right now. Play that.
I hate when guys act like they know everything about sports.
Is it hate or is it great?
Like these guys on all these talk shows, like, well, that guy's not a good baseball player. That guy's not a good football player. That guy's not a good basketball player. I'm like, dude, in your opinion.
It's time we separate the hate from the great. Cut the grass and let the snake show. Now let Tone tell you who's speaking greater or who's just a plain old hater. Now let's talk about it.
For their preseason game this weekend, telling them not to disrespect the flag during the national anthem. This came after 12 Browns players kneeled in prayer during the anthem before the previous game. Jim Brown also gave his opinion on Colin Kaepernick's protests. Let's take a listen.
Colin has to make up his mind whether he's truly an activist or whether he's a football player. If you try to be both in a situation, football is commercial, you have owners, you have fans, and you want to honor that if you're making that kind of money. If you have a cause, I think you should organize it, present it in a manner where it's not only you sitting on one knee, but a lot of people that is going to get behind each other and do something about it. If I ask you one question, who is calling on to follow what he's talking about? I'm going to give you the real deal. I'm an American. I don't desecrate my flag and my national anthem. I'm not going to do anything against the flag and the national anthem. I'm going to work within those situations. But this is my country, and I'll work out the problem, but I'll do it in an intelligent manner.
Really, really. It hurts me to do this. My hate moment is for the legendary Jim Brown.
Wow.
That's sad. Sad.
I know you heard those comments, but just understand the stature of this man, of what he stood for. The 1967 summit, where he stood with Ali, Kareem, Abdul-Jabbar, Bill Russell, and himself. This man said, and I quote again, "I'm an American. I do not desecrate my flag." Basically saying it's wrong for Colin to kneel. But at the 67 summit, you sat with Muhammad Ali, who said, "I do not want to fight in this war. This is not my war." But you sat next to him. Basically center and agreed with his movement. But yet you have a problem with Colin kneeling. No violence. He's not telling everybody, oh, do this. This is something he stood for. This is something he believed in. And I quote, and he said this maybe last week, but a year ago, August 2016, Jim Brown said, and I quote, "He's within his right. He's telling the truth as he sees it. I'm with Colin 100%. You just said this a year ago.
Something went wrong. I don't know.
What happened? I'm trying to understand it. What happened from last year to now? I'm going to tell you this. This is the reason why I feel it. Jim Brown and his colleagues reached out to Colin Kaepernick and wanted him to call him back. Colin Kaepernick never reached back. He never called. Is he a little salty? For you to go from A to Z on total opposite ends of the field. Now, first you were agreeing with him, but because he didn't call you and you weren't involved, do you feel like I should go against it? I don't get it. It's wrong. It's blasphemy. At the end of the day, it's wrong. It's a hate moment.
Definitely hate.
Just to chime in, Jim Brown, put down the weed.
Okay. Listen, let me go into my message.
Definitely.
Okay. Don't measure yourself by what you have accomplished, but by what you should have accomplished with your ability. Let me repeat that one more time. Don't measure yourself by what you have accomplished, but by what you should have accomplished with your ability. That was John Wooden.
Very good quote. Very good quote.
Legendary coach. Legendary John
True.
Wooden.
But unfortunately, we are out of time for today. So make sure to follow us on all social media platforms at topicsatl. Thanks for tuning in, and be sure to tune in next week on Friday from 7 to 8.
And remember, you are always what you focus on. You are what you focus on. Jansen is out.
Topics out.
You're listening to IBNX. IBNXradio.com.